welcome in. As we start filing in, I just want to take a quick moment to introduce myself. My name is Alejandro Cano. I am a regional admissions counselor here at Baylor University. I cover North Houston. So if you guys have any questions about the Baylor admissions process, I'm sure there'll be a presentation later on where you can ask all of that. But truthfully, take advantage of this awesome opportunity here that we have at Premier, learning from awesome faculty members about the program and everything that they have to talk about. So truthfully, take advantage of it. Use the Q&A feature that we have in there. So just type in some questions throughout and we'll try to get them answered. So I'll just go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Hafertepe.
Thank you, Alejandro, and thank you for hosting us for Premier 2022. As Alejandro said, I'm Dr. Ken Hafertepe. I've been the chair of museum studies since 2005, been teaching at Baylor since the year 2000, so mighty long time. Our program is coming up on 30 years old. It's one of the older museum studies programs. In Texas, the only older one is Texas Tech. I don't like to mention that name, but why promote the competition? But it's a program that's grown a great deal and is still growing and evolving in multiple directions. And we're joined by a current student of the program, Grant Fowler, and a distinguished alumna, Rachel Nadeau Johnson, who works at the Dr. Pepper Museum. So they're going to chip in a little bit, but wanted to very quickly give you a run through. And Grant is also our moderator, so he's paying attention to the chat. So if you have any questions, just type them in the chat format, and then Grant can either ask them directly or at the end of the session. Here you see our home. Which is the Mayborn Museum Complex. When I started at Baylor, we were in the basement of one of the science buildings. It was not pretty. But after 4 years, and after many years before that of work by Calvin Smith, the university was convinced to build a brand new museum complex. And this is the frontispiece of that, the Mayborn Museum Complex. And I'm showing that because the department is actually housed within the museum. And that's one of the distinctives of our program, that there are a lot of universities where the program is in a regular academic building, but you have to walk miles to get to a museum. Our students are surrounded by museum professionals and are sometimes working in the buildings on volunteer basis or as graduate students, as graduate student employees. So it's a wonderful thing that I like to say that our courses have textbooks and have readings, but the most important thing I think is that we have many adjunct faculty members who are actual museum professionals. So they're teaching from their experience and knowing what best practices are. So there are actually 3 full-time faculty, and compared to departments you may have been visiting, you might say 3 full-time faculty, that's not very much. But that's actually pretty normal for museum studies programs. So in addition to me, and I teach museum history and American decorative arts and material culture, we also have Dr. Julie Holcomb, who's an assistant professor. So she's a tenured professor here at Baylor, and she teaches ethical issues and collections management, and some year I'll learn to spell collections correctly, but also archival management. And we also have a full-time lecturer, Dr. Kim McCrae, who focuses on museum education. So, so that's a pretty strong core. But in addition to that, we have a number of adjunct lecturers who have other jobs and often very important jobs. What that means is that they are continuing to do work in the museum field and experiencing what is or is not best practices. And so they're able to pass that on to our students in a very prompt manner. And a number of the adjunct lecturers are graduates of our program. That would be Eric, Chris, Coleman, Rachel, and Joy. Charlie Walter, whose name is down at the bottom, is the director of the Mayborn Museum Complex. And so that's pretty cool that someone who's a senior museum professional, who's been a leader in the field for quite a long while. I won't embarrass him by saying how long, but he's a great museum director, and he's a great professor and mentor for the students. But all of our adjunct lecturers bring a lot of value to the department. So it's a pretty good setup between our full-time and our part-time teachers. The program initially started as an undergraduate major back in the early 90s. There was a point where it did not seem like we were going to be able to have a large enough faculty to do all the teaching that needed to be done, and decided to focus for a long while on the graduate program, which has grown from 2 or 3 students a year to usually 9 or 10 now. So we have now reinstituted the undergraduate major, and we're very excited about that. And I really don't have time to run through the whole darn thing, but everyone starts with MST 1300, our Introduction to Museums classes. And the new framework that we have for this involves a choice of 27 hours of coursework from 4 of the 5 concentrations. And those are education, collections, curation, administration, and research. And so we tried to put this choice in there to allow the students to basically create their own personal version of the program that might be related to where they want the program to take them in the long run. So the major is now available once again, and we're starting to get students signing up for majors. So we are pretty excited about the whole thing. The major also requires a 6-hour internship or 2 3-hour credit internship, 3 credit hour internships. And that's out of our emphasis on the hands-on approach and being able to apply the things that they're learning in the classroom, or test them out, see if they really do apply in the real world of a museum or a related cultural institution. So we're pretty excited about that. And this actually focuses in on what we've just been talking about. So we're very happy to be back fully into undergraduate education. So that's pretty cool. And I'm going to pass it over now and let you meet Rachel Nadeau-Johnson, who graduated from our master's program and is now the collections manager at Dr. Pepper. And Rachel, could you chart your experiences at Baylor as a student and as a museum professional nearby, and now as an adjunct lecturer?
Sure. So I came to Baylor with a little prior museum experience. I got a museum studies specialization with my undergraduate degree from Michigan State. And I came to Baylor for the master's program. While I was at Baylor, I had a lot of really great opportunities, not just in the classroom, but within the community as well. I worked in visitor services and the collections department at the Mayborn, which were both great experiences and have helped me out in the field. I also was a docent for one of the historic homes here in town with Historic Waco Foundation. And all of these really allowed me to have a really well-rounded experience. While I was in the program, I did the internship option instead of a project or a thesis. And I interned at the Dr. Pepper Museum in collections. After I graduated, I ended up working at Dr. Pepper Museum in the collections department, and I am still there today. And I've also had some experience with leadership through our local Museum Association of Waco. I was the secretary and vice president of that association for 4 years in total. I started as an adjunct lecturer in 2017, where I co-taught with Dr. Holcomb my first year, and since 2018, I have been teaching the graduate level collections course by myself. And so I get to have a lot of great experiences both in the field and in the classroom teaching up and coming professionals.
Well, thank you, Rachel. And you know, you're embodying some of our goals for the program. That one of our goals is for our graduates to go out and get very good, substantial museum jobs. So bingo, you've got that. But we also hope that our students will start to give back to the museum profession quite soon. And so the good work that you've done with the Museum Association of Waco is definitely, and you know, your involvement with the Texas Association of Museums is fulfilling our goal, or you are fulfilling our goal. And then to teach and to come back and to already at this stage, you have your eye on the generations that are going to be following you in another 30 years or so. So we are very excited to have you and the other adjuncts deeply involved in the program, and I can tell you that the students really enjoy Rachel's collections management class. They consider it a rich experience. So pretty cool all in all. Thank you very much, Rachel. And Rachel was mentioning the sort of experiences that you can get, and we actually like to have our students either volunteering, or if they can do it for pay, that's good too. And that can happen at the Mayborn, but we also have a number of partners around campus, other special collections libraries and cultural institutions that sometimes aren't that well known outside of Waco. We have the Armstrong Browning Library, which is the gorgeous, that's one gorgeous room of a gorgeous building on the left, which is one of the largest collections of papers of Robert Browning and Elizabeth Barrett Browning, his wife, in the world. And we have a graduate, we used to call them graduate assistantship, now we call them graduate employment opportunities there. So that's a great opportunity to be working on exhibits or helping to create finding aids for new acquisitions or cataloging. So a lot of the stuff that our students are learning about in the classroom, and they're able to apply it, boom. The building on the right is Carroll Library, which houses the Texas collection, one of the great collections of materials on Texas and the Southwest. And we have students who very often work there or have gone on to get jobs there. We have a number of people on staff there. We also have a student working at the Martin Museum of Art, which is in the Hooper Schaefer building. You probably have driven by that building on the left without realizing that inside is Baylor's University Art Gallery. So at least one graduate student is involved there, and we've had other students do their professional projects there, and undergrads volunteer. So it's been a wonderful relationship with the Martin Museum of Art. So that's cool. And then off of campus, we have some fabulous museum partners, the Dr. Pepper Museum and Free Enterprise Institute. And since I created this slide, I learned that I am so in the past. The Dr. Pepper Museum has rebranded and dropped Free Enterprise Institute. Next year, I'm going to get this right, by golly. But this was a museum founded in the early 1990s, and it focuses on the history of the soft drink industry, Dr. Pepper and other soft drinks. And they've been a wonderful partner over the years, providing internship opportunities and hiring a number of our graduates, and even providing one of our adjunct professors. So we really appreciate that. Or there's the Texas Ranger Hall of Fame and the Texas Sports Hall of Fame, both of them very near the Mayborn Museum. So great volunteering opportunities, and we have students who've gone on to be employed as curators or in other positions there as well. Rachel alluded to the Historic Waco Foundation, and this is a group of 4 historic house museums, and here are 2 of them, the McCullough House and East Terrace. And this is an opportunity for students early on to learn to do interpretation, but there are many other volunteer opportunities, and any number of our students have worked there after graduation. So that's pretty cool. And one of the most recent additions to the Waco Museum and cultural scene is the Waco Mammoth National Monument, which this is a photo of the National Park Service logo being applied to the Waco Mammoth site. You can see that it's a joint effort between the city of Waco, Baylor, and the National Park Service. And we've had a wonderful relationship with them. And we have a graduate employment opportunity at the Mammoth site as well. And it's a pretty small staff there. So they're very happy for getting the firepower of Baylor students who come in high energy and eager to learn. And so it's just a great thing. And with that, I wanted to pull in one of our undergraduate students, Grant Fowler. And Grant, could you speak to what your experience of the program is, what classes you're taking, how you've experienced your professors and fellow students?
Yes. So far, my undergraduate experience in the program has been with Dr. McCrae, Dr. Holcomb, and then Professor Bush as well. So I've taken classes in administration and education. I then actually got an internship with the Dr. Pepper Museum, and I'm currently working there now. And I've just applied to the master's program in in museum studies as well. So I hope to continue my education forward with that. And the partnerships that they have with these museums, I mean, they really do connect a lot of professionals in, and you can get a lot of help from them.
Absolutely. And if anybody has questions for either Grant or for Rachel, you can put that in the chat box as well. And yeah, Grant is one of our outstanding undergraduate students, and we were very happy. Actually, he's going to be a pioneer in one of our other new initiatives, which is a joint Bachelor of Arts for a select major and Master of Arts in Museum Studies. And this is a program that allows you to apply for the graduate program in your junior year, which Grant did. And so in the fall, while he is finishing up his undergraduate degree, he is also going to be starting to take graduate courses in museum studies. And this is going to be allowing him to fast track through the graduate program and to be able to graduate with his bachelor's and master's degree in 5 years. And so we're very excited at this as a great new opportunity. And Grant, what is your undergraduate major going to be?
Currently, my undergraduate major that I'm pairing with this 4+1 plan is the anthropology. But I also just have a Russian major on the side of it, but anthropology is my primary major for it.
Yeah, it's interesting how our students, these are sort of our partner departments here, but our students have wide interests, and you can find them off taking Russian classes or honors classes or all sorts of things. And so we like that because the number of different museums in the world, the different focuses of museums is just so wide, so that there'll be plenty of interesting work for folks like Grant to be doing in the future. But yeah, we have good relationships with anthropology, which has been a very good and close relationship over the years, but also American studies, art and art history, which is especially good for students who are wanting to do work in an art museum. Journalism is great for someone interested in marketing and public relations, and increasingly museums are hiring people to do that, or history departments for history museums. And we've even made it a possibility that you can major as an undergrad in museum studies if you want to make sure that you take every darn course that we have, and you'll be able to do that. So we have a core of required courses, which you see here, 15 hours. But then you can shape your graduate experience with a variety of the courses that we offer as upper level courses. So so that's pretty cool. The payoff for all of this, and actually here's some of the last coursework of things that you can do. The payoff for us, the acid test, is, do our students get jobs? And if that's not true, I'm not sure that our degree is worth much. It is really a pre-professional degree. And you can see these are just jobs in Texas. And this can be sort of classic museum jobs like exhibit curator or collections manager, or executive director. But we also have students who are working in a variety of other areas like development. Museums really need people who know how to shake the money tree. And so that's quite critical. And Rachel, did you want to chip in on that? I saw a raised hand.
No, I'm sorry. I was having a bit of a technical issue.
Oh, okay.
Did not mean to raise my hand.
We all have that happen. But yeah, and it's kind of cool because when we go out on field trips, which is another big part of the program, we often see our graduates. Like when we went to the Briscoe Western Art Museum in San Antonio, the collections manager and registrar there is a graduate of our program. And but you know, I was saying that development is important. Museums need development, fundraising people. But even you'll notice the Austin Symphony Orchestra has a development associate, Elise Embry, who's a graduate of our program. And then farther afield, we have people working at Andrew Jackson's Hermitage and the Field Museum in Chicago, and the Music Center, which I believe is what used to be the Grammy Museum in Los Angeles, the assistant registrar at the Buffalo Bill Center of the West, which is a great American Western art museum. So it's just all over the place. The job of project archivist for student life, that was someone who focused on museum archives and archival classes that Dr. Holcomb teaches, and she was able to get a one-year post-graduation internship at Princeton at their libraries and has been hired on as a permanent person there. So our people are out there and doing things right now. They take what they learn here at Baylor, but then they're ready to go out and do great work in the world. So it's an exciting major to have. I see that we have something in the chat. Is that Grant? Can you let us know what that is?
That was our 5-minute warning.
Oh, 5-minute warning. Well, okay. Well, this what you're seeing is my happy news last slide. So does anybody have any questions? Other than where's the best place to go for virtual lunch? Well, we're looking forward in the future to having Premier return to in person at the university, because the Baylor campus is a lovely campus, and it's a great sales point for the museum. And if any of y'all are coming to Baylor anytime soon, you know, you can find my email on the Baylor website. Let us know, and we can set up a free tour of the Mayborn Museum and perhaps meet with some faculty and students. We'd be delighted to see any of y'all in the near future.
My contact is on there as well, so if you're interested in anything collections related or whatever, you can feel free to reach out to me.
Yes, and you may have noticed that we have a very strong connection with Dr. Pepper at the museum. As Rachel and Grant know, I'm addicted to Diet Dr. Pepper, so I'm gonna take a swig now. But it's definitely a soft drink with a strong Texas connection, having been invented here in Waco, and corporate headquarters are just up the road in Dallas. And I guess we could say that the Dr. Pepper Museum is not a corporate museum. It's not funded by the actual company now, but is completely independent, and of course dependent on fundraising and the like, but allows them to interpret a wide variety of topics without really having to run it past corporate headquarters or anything like that. I'm just trying to see if there's we've had a couple of students who've ended up at the Mississippi Museum of Art in Jackson, Mississippi, and that's been a good position for them. And actually, the curator of the Governor's Mansion in Jackson is a graduate of our program as well. So it's, a lot of times people don't realize how many different types of museum jobs there are, and that they really, it takes a lot to bring these institutions to life. You just don't open the door and let the people walk through. It requires, tons of people working in the planning of exhibits and executing exhibits, making sure that collections are well kept and well preserved, developing programs. It's a pretty big task, but our students approach it with energy and enthusiasm and lots of intelligence. So this might be a good path for some of you folks who are listening. Well, Alejandro, have we come to the end of the session? Oh, and Alejandro, you are muted.
Yes, perfect. If you guys just want to leave any contact information, this is all getting recorded, so they can go ahead and get in contact with you guys. But again, if they have any questions, I really encourage you guys to reach out to the department. They're an excellent department. I've had the pleasure of sitting with Dr. Hafertepe before in a meeting, and I love I did not know anything about museum studies before, but I came out knowing a whole lot more, and now it's something that I get to talk to my kids when I'm on the road. So I truly enjoy getting to know all of these things. So again, I hope that you guys have a great day. And again, thank you guys for presenting. And if you guys have any questions, please go ahead and send them over to them.